I want to tell you a little bit about my background and my medical background and what brought me to Wat Phat Dhammakaya. 20 years ago, my twin sons were born in New York. I'm an Englishman, my wife is an American. She had spent 10 years in Thailand working for the United Nations before I met her. And my English company sent me to America, and I met her at the United Nations. So we got together, and 20 years ago our twins were born, and my wife brought a Thai lady to live with us to help us look after the children, because we both were working in the professional world in New York. And that Thai woman, Suni, used to go to a temple near my home that was affiliated with Wat Phat Dhammakaya. Wat Phat Dhammakaya is something you know about. And I met one of the monks there who asked me if I'd like to meditate, and I said I would, I'd like to learn. And he said, I'll only teach you if you will come 5 nights in a row. And the first night I went there and sat on the floor, and I could only sit in a half lotus position for 5 minutes. Then my legs hurt. And the second night for 10 minutes, the third night for 15 minutes, and the fourth night for 20 minutes. On the fourth night, that monk told me, someday you will sit for hours and you will think it's only 10 minutes. And to be honest with you, I said to myself, well, I'm coming back tomorrow to keep my promise, then you'll never see me again. This is too painful. On the 5th night, however, after we'd meditated, Luang Pi said to me, open your eyes. Do not look at your watch. How long have you been here now? And I said, I've been here about 5 or 10 minutes. And he said, now look at your watch. I'd been there 2.5 hours. So the time went very, very quickly. And I saw a crystal ball. That was the first time I saw one. And he knew that by the look on my face. Now that I've taught thousands of people to meditate, whenever one of my students sees a crystal ball or an inner body, then I know by the look on their faces too. I know who has and who has not. And what I do is I never tell them about any phenomena inside the crystal ball. I just talk about the crystal ball. And then the ones who have seen phenomena, I separate them and get them to draw what they've seen. And of course they all draw exactly the same, which really surprises them. I was born with a heart defect, 2 leaking heart valves. And after 12 years service in the British Army, those heart valves were discovered and I was discharged medically. And I was devastated. And more than 30 years ago, I was living in Denmark, and I had to have a double heart valve replacement. And I got these 2 huge metal valves put in my heart. And I had a life expectancy, if I led a sedentary life, of approximately 5 years. So I went and climbed mountains in Iran. I tramped the jungles of Thailand, Cambodia, and Laos. I lived with Eskimos in Greenland. I tramped the deserts of Iraq and Syria. And I lived and worked in 23 different countries around the world and probably visited another 14. I did not lead a sedentary life. I did die, however. In fact, I clinically died 6 times and was revived with defibrillation, once by the same nurse in the same hospital on 2 different occasions. And her comment was, Mr. Mawson, please don't come back to this hospital when I'm on duty. You scare me to death. I've been very fortunate because I have been revived. And even the doctors say to me, I don't know anyone who's had 6 sudden cardiac arrests. Most people don't survive 1. You must have something to do. Luang Por has asked me to be his voice in the West. I have lots to do. I can't die. I'm too busy. And when you're busy doing something you love, then you have a zest. You have an energy for living. And many people half my age can't even keep up with me. They don't have the stamina. They don't have the energy that I have. And I have done many different forms of meditation. But this is university. This is university level. I have taught here at this temple meditation masters from around the world. Men who came here and said, I am a master, I am a teacher, I teach, I'm a TM master, what can you teach me? My answer to that question always is, what would you like to learn? Because they came with inflated ego. But when you ask them that question, they stumble. And they ask the question again, what can you teach me? And the reply is still the same. What is it you would like to learn? I know some of you are probably in pain, sitting, meditating, your knees hurt, or your back hurts, or somewhere in your body is uncomfortable. I would like to suggest to you, when this happens, that you acknowledge that pain, because it's real. You can't tell yourself, I'm not hurting, because that's not the truth. The truth is you are hurting. What you have to do is realize the power of your mind. You have more potential than any other human being that has ever lived before you. Think about that. The only thing that limits you is your mind. You're only limited by how you think. You can actually meditate to such a degree that you're no longer here, that there's nothingness, nothing. And there is no pain then, because it's no longer you. You're at one with the whole universe and beyond. And when that happens, you can't feel anything. Don't give up on yourselves. Don't ever doubt your inner power. I don't know how you have talked to yourselves all your lives, but start talking to yourselves different from today. Start reminding yourselves how powerful you are. When I say powerful, I don't mean that in a bad sense. I mean that in the best sense of the word. Because all of you, each of you, has the opportunity when you leave here to make a huge difference in the world. Because you are so powerful. And remember, when you touch only one life, that person touches someone else's life and someone else's life, and that ripple effect goes out, and it never ends. It keeps going and going and going. And with meditation, it's like quantum physics. It travels at the speed of light. You all came here seeking something. You came to the right place, because this is where you find it. You probably came seeking yourselves, trying to find out who you are. Constantly remind yourselves that you are very powerful, because you have a mind, and you know where to place that mind, and you know that this place 2 finger widths above your navel is the most powerful place that your mind can be. And when it is there, fantastic things can happen in your life. In 1998, I had to have a defibrillator implanted in my chest. It was a pacemaker and a defibrillator in one, so that if my heart stopped, it would shock me back to life again. It never had to do that, but my heart got bigger and bigger and weaker and weaker. And 4 years ago, I was dying again. And the doctors said I had end-stage cardiac failure. End stage meaning you are dying. It's the end. However, a doctor who you will see soon had been approached by the Discovery Channel, and he is a world-renowned heart transplant surgeon in the US, Dr. Mehmet Oz, O-Z, like the Wizard of Oz. And he was a very young man, and he heard in the hospital, the Discovery Channel said to him, do you have a special heart transplant patient? Someone who does something different? And he said, I don't think so. But he was talking to my cardiologist, who's a Korean woman. And she said, oh, I have a patient who uses the power of the mind to overcome a lot of the physical challenges that he's had. And he teaches meditation in this hospital to the staff. That doctor then came and he found me, and he asked me, if we get a heart for you, would you like to be filmed with me on the Discovery Channel and show how meditation has given you some power to help you get well? And I said, absolutely.
We have now come to the end of our program. Your questions and comments can be sent to meditationforall@yahoo.com.